Al-Aqsar in Arabic, Luxor in Upper Egyptian pronunciation, and Babe in Coptic, is a city in Upper Egypt and the capital of Luxor Governorate. The modern city sprawls to the site of the ancient Egyptian city of Wasit, also known as Nut in Coptic, and to the Greeks as Thebes or Diospolis. Luxor has frequently been characterized as the world's greatest open-air museum, as the ruins of the temple complexes at Karnak and Luxor stand within the modern city. Immediately opposite across the River Nile lie the monuments, temples and tombs of the West Bank necropolis, which includes the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. Thousands, actually tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of tourists from all around the world arrive annually to visit these monuments, contributing greatly to the economy of the modern city and the economy of Egypt. Millions of tourists now. Luxor was the ancient city of Thebes, the great capital of Upper Egypt during the New Kingdom, and the glorious city of Amun, later to become the god Amun-Ra. The city was regarded in the ancient Egyptian texts as Wasit, which meant city of scepter, later in Demotic Egyptian, conventionally pronounced as Taipet, meaning the shrine or temple. The temple now known by its Arabic name Karnak, meaning fortified village, which the Greeks adapted as Thebai and the Romans after them Thebai. Thebes was also known as the city of the 100 gates, sometimes being called Southern Heliopolis, to distinguish it from the city of Yunu or Heliopolis, the main place of worship for the god Ra in the north. It was also often referred to as Nut in Coptic, which simply means city, and was one of only 3 cities in Egypt for which this noun was used. The other 2 were Memphis and Heliopolis. The importance of the city started as early as the 11th dynasty, when the town grew into a thriving city. Qutb II, who united Egypt after the troubles of the first intermediate period, brought stability to the lands as the city grew in stature. The pharaohs of the new kingdom, in their expeditions to Kush in today's northern Sudan and to the lands of Canaan, Phoenicia and Syria, saw the city accumulate great wealth and rose to prominence even on a world scale. Thebes played a major role in expelling the invading forces of the Hyksos from Upper Egypt, and from the time of the 18th dynasty to the 20th dynasty, the city had risen as the political, religious and military capital of ancient Egypt. The city attracted people such as the Babylonians, the Mitanni, the Hittites of Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, the Canaanites of Ugarit, the Phoenicians of Byblos and Tyre, the Minoans from the island of Crete. A Hittite prince from Anatolia even came to marry with the widow of Tutankhamun. The political and military importance of the city, however, faded during the late period, with Thebes being replaced as political capital by several cities in northern Egypt, such as Bubastis, Sais, and finally Alexandria. However, as the city of the god Amun-Ra, Thebes remained the religious capital of Egypt until the Greek period. The main god of the city was Amun, who was worshipped together with his wife, the goddess Mut, and their son Khonsu, the god of the moon. With the rise of Thebes as the foremost city of Egypt, the local god Amun rose in importance as well and became linked to the sun god Ra, thus creating the new king of gods, Amun-Ra. His great temple at Karnak, just north of Thebes, or Luxor, was the most important temple of Egypt right until the end of antiquity. Assurbanipal, who installed the Libyan prince on the throne, Psamtik I, the city of Thebes was in ruins and fell in significance. However, Alexander the Great did arrive at the temple of Amun, where the statue of the god was transferred from Karnak during the Opet festival, the great religious feast. Thebes remained a site of spirituality up to the Christian era and attracted numerous Christian monks in the Roman Empire, who established monasteries amidst several ancient monuments, including the temple of Hatshepsut, now called Deir el-Bahari, or the Northern Monastery. Some of the landmarks of Luxor, the biggest open-air museum in the world, include in its eastern bank the Luxor Temple, the Karnak Temple, the Luxor Museum, the Mummification Museum, and in the western bank we have the Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens, Medine Habo, or the Memorial Temple of Ramses III, the Ramesseum, or the Memorial Temple of Ramses II, and those are just some of the landmarks in the city that is considered the biggest open-air museum city in the world. On the west bank of the Nile, near the ancient city of Luxor, rises one of the most extraordinary monuments of ancient Egypt, the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. Built during the 18th dynasty of the New Kingdom around the 15th century BCE, this temple stands as a testament to the power and vision of one of Egypt's most remarkable rulers. Hatshepsut was not only a queen, but a pharaoh who brought prosperity and stability to Egypt. Her reign was marked by peace, ambitious building projects, and successful trade expeditions. Her temple, located at Deir el-Bahri, was designed to reflect harmony with nature. Carved into the towering limestone cliffs, the structure rises in 3 grand terraces connected by long ramps and lined with elegant colonnades. The temple was designed by her royal architect, Senenmut, who created a masterpiece unlike any other in Egypt, a blend of architecture and landscape in perfect balance. Inside, the walls tell stories of Hatshepsut's achievements. One of the most famous reliefs depicts her expedition to the land of Punt, a journey that brought incense, gold, ebony, and exotic treasures back to Egypt. The temple was dedicated to the god Amun, the chief deity of Thebes, as well as other gods, and to Hatshepsut herself. The Temple of Hatshepsut stands as one of the most breathtaking sights in Egypt, a symbol of ambition, innovation, and a legacy that refused to be forgotten. A monument not only to a great ruler, but to one of the most fascinating stories in ancient history. The Nilometer in Cairo, on the southern tip of Rhoda Island, is a unique historical site which is often overlooked by visitors. It is one of the oldest existent structures which dates back to the period just after the Arab conquest of Egypt, specifically by the Abbasids. Nilometers were used to measure the levels of the Nile River and are a remarkable reminder of Egypt's illustrious past. The Nilometer helped to determine the elevation of the Nile waters and thus led them to decide on the best irrigation methods. It also helped the Egyptian government to designate appropriate taxes. It would be difficult to overstate the importance of the annual flood to Egyptian civilization. A moderate inundation was a vital part of the agricultural cycle. However, a lighter inundation than normal would cause famine, and too much flood water would be equally disastrous, washing away much of the infrastructure built on the floodplain. The Nilometer, in Arabic al-Miqyas, or measure, or Rhoda Island, is the oldest structure in Egypt built after the Arab conquest that survives in its original form. Its all-important function was to measure the annual Nile flood in the August to September period, to regulate the distribution of water, and the levy of taxes paid as tribute by Egypt to the Caliph. The Umayyads had built a Nilometer of the simple type used earlier in Egypt, a graduated wall in the Nile. The Nilometer we see today was built in the year 861 by order of the Abbasid Caliph al-Mutawakkil. It is a rather sophisticated instrument based on the principle of communicating vessels. The Nilometer consists of a pit on the southern tip of Rhoda Island, facing El Fustat to the east, communicating with the Nile through tunnels dug on 3 levels on its eastern side. The pit itself is circular at the bottom and rectangular at the top and is lined with stone. On its walls are 4 recesses with pointed arches, flanked by colonnettes showing 2 types of voussoir decorations. In the middle of the pit is a marble column squeezed between a millstone at the bottom of the pit and a wooden beam spanning the Nilometer at the top. The column, which has a Corinthian capital, is graded and divided into 19 cubits. A cubit is slightly more than half a meter. The walls of the Nilometer have carved inscriptions in plain Kufic, the earliest surviving example of architectural epigraphy in Egypt. They are Quranic texts referring to water, vegetation, and prosperity, and thus have a talismanic meaning. A historic inscription referring to the founding of the Nilometer by Al-Mutawakkil has been removed. Most probably it was done by Ibn Tulun, who restored the Nilometer in the year 872-873, removing the name as part of his campaign to assert his independence from the Caliphate. The inscriptions were originally on a background of blue. They were themselves left in the natural stone color. After the Mosque of Amr ibn al-As in the year 642, the Nilometer is considered the most ancient Islamic structure in Egypt. It was made in the year 861 according to the double inscription of the northern and eastern sides of the well that mentions the name of the work's foreman. The end of the dedicatory inscription, which possibly mentions the Abbasid Caliph al-Mutawakkil, was probably effaced by Ibn Tulun in 872 and replaced with Quranic inscriptions that evoke water, vegetation, and prosperity.